Your work is all about establishing this ledger of verifiable truths, things that have actually happened.
Yeah.
You started on Ethereum. Were you thinking about governance at all when you started to code up Ethereum?
Yeah,
Okay.
quite a bit. It was a conversation Vitalik and I had a few times.
Okay.
With the idea being that Ethereum would become a DAO. This was the
Ethereum was supposed to be a DAO?
The Ethereum was eventually going to become a DAO. Like this was the Ethereum Foundation was only meant to exist for as long as we didn't have the DAO. The DAO would be the thing that we delivered once we delivered Ethereum.
Okay, it's 2023. How many years ago was that discussion?
10 years ago, almost.
Okay.
They're coming up to the 10-year anniversary.
Okay.
So this really this is something that I was very keen on with Polkadot, like delivering this original Ethereum vision of the DAO, DAO based blockchain. And I think to some degree that's happened. But post launch of Ethereum, it was something that I was very keen on following through with, mostly because I saw a lot of I saw an annoying combination, like a difficult combination of chaos and authority forming well, in terms of determining Ethereum's direction. So we had these like weekly calls where we discussed the protocol, and the calls were open. Anyone could say anything, and at the end of the call, we had this kind of vote. And it's like if it was unanimous, then we kind of assumed that then it will. It was a bit odd because it was like, okay, so anyone who turns up can, in principle, vote something down, and we're not limiting who can turn up.
Okay.
So it's a bit of an odd governance model. Like, it doesn't seem resilient in any way.
Yeah.
It's eventually just going to
a little underdeveloped. Yeah. Okay.
Now, in reality, it was something more akin to a papal model where there is a pope and the pope listens to the advisors, to the cardinals and random people they might happen to wander past in the congregation. But at the end of the day, the pope makes a decision. And the pope is benevolent and they will listen to good points.
Of course.
And maybe things will change if the pope feels that there is a need for it to change. But there is an unwritten... I mean, in principle, the Pope is first among equals, right? In principle, the Pope has no greater power than anyone else. But the reality is that decisions are made by convention by the Pope. I felt that was the model that Ethereum had silently slipped into.
Right.
I don't feel as a model that was especially resilient, or for that matter, in keeping with the nature of what we were building. And so I set out to make a more resilient governance model. And I think I published something called the Yellow Paper Council, which is a little bit similar to the fellowship, a Polkadot fellowship, which is basically, look, Ethereum can be defined unambiguously by the Yellow Paper. The Yellow Paper exists as a LaTeX file. We can propose changes to that LaTeX file and people can vote on it. The ability to vote on it can be, the ability to have a vote can be, we can work out some condition that can be evaluated by whoever, the Ethereum community, the wider community, to sort of elevate people into the Yellow Paper Council. And I sort of wrote it out as a basic governance mechanism. Now, it was not going to be on chain particular. I think eventually the idea was that it would become on chain. Sure. And I think, yeah, that's right. I actually wrote it up as a smart contract on Ethereum that parity Ethereum used to determine whether it should update itself. So it's like there was a concept of the Yellow Paper Council, there was a concept of voting for an upgrade, and then the parity Ethereum would sort of look out for new upgrades and then download the new thing and automatically restart itself with a new upgraded version of itself when it was meant to. So it was sort of an early version of forkless upgrades. Cool.
How was this received by the wider Ethereum community, especially those who generally held authority over decisions?
I think there were elements that welcomed the tractability of decision making. I think, as with any political system, those individuals that stand to lose influence or that stand to have their power reduced will necessarily be against any alteration to the power structures, to the polity. It's just a natural part of humanity. Tolkien covered this in Lord of the Rings. It's like, I might want to use the ring to do good, but in reality, once I have that power, my main concern will be not losing that power.
That's right.
I think we see this everywhere, and it's just a not very human thing, or a superhuman thing, to be able to give up power, to be able to see power for the the ball and chain that it is.
Wow.
And I think people do, but I think oftentimes they're not the people that end up in power.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And right. Maybe you can't have that gene if you do end up in power or something like that.
A system of governance that not only provides power to those who merit the power, to those who will make good decisions, but also to those who will not utilize the power to retain power.
Yeah, right.
Is crucial, and probably a system is only resilient in the long term if it guarantees the second thing even more potently than it guarantees the first thing, which is to say, one should prefer those who will not attempt to retain power at all costs over those who are likely to make the best decisions. Oftentimes, these two will be competing. Like, an individual will deliver the first, but also may risk the second. And a system that ensures that they never attempt to retain power it's probably more important to ensure that second point, that anyone in control doesn't attempt to retain control more than the first point.